Welcome back to the 127 Fit podcast. Today's guest is the founder of Habitual Roots. Today's guest is Kevin J. Wong. Kevin, I want to welcome you to the 127 Fit podcast.
Thank you, Quentin, very much, and I'm very grateful to be here, sitting in this beautiful place to record and share more to your community.
Absolutely, my man. So we're just going to jump right in. I've got a little bit of a conversational warm-up. I've got 4 questions for you. The first question that I have for you, Kevin, is how do you start your day? Do you have a specific morning routine or ritual that you like to stick to on most mornings?
Absolutely. So I usually have a practice that I like to share with a lot of people in my community. It's a practice to help win the morning, win the day, essentially. And what it involves is first, once my eyes have been opened through sunlight or my body awakening myself, I like to reflect on any emotions or thoughts or dreams that I may have had from resting. This then leads me into hydrating the body, drinking at least half a cup to a full cup of water to get my body with fluids and moving and allowing it to kind of awaken itself.
Yep.
Then I allow myself to get up and sit up in bed, taking at least 5 solid deep breaths to get the blood flowing even more, getting my body oxygenated, and getting my mind excited for the day.
Cool.
Yeah, and I will then move into other things from creative movement, which is essentially allowing my mind to guide me in a process of movement to get my heart rate going, to allow myself to feel the energy of the morning, to guide me into journaling or setting the intention or praising with gratitude of what I'm looking forward to begin the day as well. Beautiful,
my man. Excellent. So that morning routine really kind of hits, kind of like, you know, it hits your mind, your body, kind of your spirit. It kind of hits all areas of the human being. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So, Kevin, do you have a favorite book or book that you like to gift often?
My favorite book to gift, the most general one and easy one that I find that hits home for a lot of people is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I think it's a very easy, fun read that has a lot of powerful impacts for people's lives and in their journey. He actually wrote this in one sitting, which I think is super fascinating.
For sure.
But apart from that, there's many other books that I would suggest too that's a little bit more deeper dive into the awareness.
So. Okay, cool. Is there a favorite quote, mantra, or word that has been impactful, maybe present day in your life or in the past?
Yeah. Right now, I live by the understanding that you should live like you are going to die tomorrow, but learn like you will live forever.
Love that, man. Is that who's that by? Do you know? Do you remember who stated that?
I believe that was Gandhi.
Gandhi? All right, good man. He's like a king of quotes. So there's definitely a lot of Gandhi quotes. Now, Gandhi specifically, outside of just that quote, has he played a role or been impactful in your life? Have you studied him a little bit or not?
I followed some things that he's created.
Okay.
Overall, I find that he has created a beautiful path for himself, but as well as shine the light on what others can do for themselves as well. I don't follow him strictly, but I find that he has done an amazing impact in our community and as well as our society. For
sure. Awesome. All right, so is there a favorite or most listened to podcast that you have?
I wouldn't say specifically. It will be a 127 Fitness now.
That's right, my man.
But I find that I tend to draw towards things like Joe Rogan because there's such a wide variety, and he brings on people who are from all different walks of nature.
Okay, awesome. Love that, man. Okay, so we're a little bit shorter on time today, so we're going to kind of speed things up because I really want to give you kind of the opportunity to talk about where you're at today and everything and some of the things that you've got going on. But just quickly, if you don't mind sharing, Kevin, with myself and the 127 Fit podcast listeners, where did you grow up? What did those younger years look like for you?
Okay. I'm originally from North Carolina.
Okay.
I was born there and lived there for about 20 years or so throughout the state. A lot of my younger childhood was around a restaurant. My parents came over from Vietnam.
Okay.
They met in North Carolina and actually had me, and so I'm the oldest of 2 other younger sisters.
Okay.
So a lot of my time was spent in this restaurant, as well as growing up with the neighborhood and the kids all around. It was a very authentic approach, and looking back now, I wasn't always in the best environment, but I experienced a lot of things that allowed me to have the confidence and the trust in myself and the ability to trust in the uncertainty to guide me into developing and growing more of myself. And it allowed me to have a lot more community and connection and understanding what it meant to be connected and having community.
Right.
Growing up, riding on bikes with your friends and seeing other people and understanding through play that it is such an important thing that allows you to create curiosity and wonder for you to see more of yourself. And by doing that, you allow yourself to learn more of yourself through the creativity, through the play, and just seeing other people.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, is there one thing that you kind of like look back on your childhood in regards to like your mom and your dad, your parents, that they really impactfully and powerfully instilled in you that you kind of still hold on to this day as a grown man?
I'd say so.
Okay.
What draws to my mind is family and love.
Cool.
And family and love does not stay just to yourself.
Right.
Right? If you truly look at it, everyone that comes across your path is essentially your soul family. People who come into your spectrum allow you to learn more about yourself. And there's reasons why people come into your life. Essentially, people are here for a reason, a season, or essentially a lifetime.
Right.
And understanding and being open to what that entails is the journey itself.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, let's. I just kind of again just want to speed things up. But did you after you graduated high school, did you go off to college? What did those first few years post high school look like for you?
Post high school, I went directly into college. I had a little bit of time to kind of reflect and kind of rest before diving into engineering school. That's what I thought I wanted to do. Engineering was what the system or the process of what my family entailed me to do. It is definitely not what I do today, but without that experience, I would not be sitting here speaking with you and have founded Habitual Roots to do what it does with the community and the activities that we provide to the society as well.
Right. So you really found. So did you end up graduating from college or not?
I did.
Okay. Cool.
I graduated in engineering at UNC Charlotte.
Okay. Awesome. Now, so once you graduated college, and it kind of sounds like that college route, was that a pretty strong expectation from your parents to go to college and kind of follow maybe after that American dream? Is that fair to say or not?
That is fair to say.
Okay.
I find that the American dream is what a lot of the forefront of this country was built on.
Right.
The idea of going to school, getting a good job, creating a family, having that white picket fence house. And then now where our society has brought us to is realizing that those things aren't truly what gives us happiness, right? It's
absolutely.
finding happiness within yourself before you can seek and provide those things for other people.
For sure.
So I absolutely do see that it is important to understand that college is a good experience, but it doesn't mean that everyone needs to do it.
Amen.
And learning how you learn best and how you grow best and trusting in that.
Right.
And trusting in others to do that for themselves.
For
as well.
sure. So you graduated from college, and this was kind of a pretty strong expectation from your parents. So once you graduated, did you enter into kind of that engineering world right away, or were you already kind of just like, hey, I just got to finish college, and already kind of having that restlessness of like, I'm not passionate about this, I don't love this, I've got to find something else? What did that look like after you graduated?
So it even started pre-graduation.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
Just that feeling or sensation of like, hey, like engineering isn't actually for me, but because I've designed and created this path that I thought was for me, I would try to invest my time into doing more.
For sure.
Right. So I was consulting and working and even being a part of startup companies to understand the different industries that existed out there for me to be a part of. So I can understand what I wanted to do for this world and for the community and for humanity itself. And so essentially, by the time I had graduated, I was doing so many of these different things, it brought me to this clairvoyance of knowing, hey, engineering isn't what I want to do.
Right.
And this directed my mentality and my mindset to say, hey, be open to what is out there in the world. So initially when I came out of the box of schooling and education and college, essentially I went straight into doing something I'd never done before, which is essentially working for a software company, leading an entire business department, and doing marketing, doing sales, doing quality assurance testing, to essentially running this entire department. And it not only enhanced my understanding of what it meant to run a business, but it helped me create this level of creativity and play and connection to that deeper sense of awareness within myself of what I really wanted to provide, which is helping others see more of themselves through connection, creativity, play, and authenticity.
Yes. So you just mentioned creativity, and I was in preparation for our conversation today with the podcast, I was looking at your Instagram, and I came across this quote that you had posted up in the past, and it was by Albert Einstein, and it says, "Creativity is contagious, pass it on." What does that quote mean to you specifically? And then, you mentioned creativity, but what is the importance for us human beings to be able to express our creativity through our gifts, through whatever means we kind of find it important for us to create that creativity?
Beautiful. We are creators, essentially. At a fundamental, primal level, we are all creators. Learning to allow others to recognize that is where the contagious side comes in. By doing it first within yourself, learning how to create, similar to this podcast, similar to a company, similar to a program or an experience or an event, these are all things just as similar to a musical song or a designed artistic creation. Creation can look in many different ways.
Absolutely, yes.
Learning how to allow others to tap into that state, because again, we all have it within ourselves. It is fundamental for us to be able to do that, but learning where it comes from, right? When you combine it not only with your mind, and then combine it with your heart, and then allow your hands or your voice or any physical part of your being to create from that, is when magic truly happens, right? And so by doing it within yourself, doing it for others, and showing that you can do it, that means others will start to see that they are able to do it themselves.
And that, when we express our creativity, that allows us to come alive, doesn't it?
Yes.
Right. Yes. Because, for me, I believe that I was created. I believe that us human beings were created by God. So if we are created beings, that creativity is within us. And I think in alignment with what you're saying is, once we express that creativity, that kind of breathes fresh life into us as human beings. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay.
We all came from a place of love. You and I both were created from the essential place of love. And recognizing everyone you interact with and look into each other's eyes, you also came from a place of love. I also came from a place of love. They also did. And learning to see and act from that place and allowing others to truly connect to that understanding will allow them to see more of a deeper awareness of compassion, empathy, connection. Because we are dealing with such an epidemic right now, is that we are feeling more disconnected and more disassociated with ourselves, and with technology coming into the forefront. It's like, how can we learn to be present with these technologies and using it as what it truly is intended for, and allowing ourselves to create with it, and instead of letting it create us.
Beautiful. So we can create individually, right? I can create something just by myself. You can create something by yourself, but really the love is manifested, the beauty is manifested when we can come together in unity and in community and create together. Is that kind of where you're coming from? That is really the true beauty, love, and power, is when human beings can come together in community and create together. Is that?
Yes.
Is that a good way to put it?
Very good way.
Okay, cool.
They say that if you want to go farther, go by yourself. But if you want to go further, right, go with others.
I like it. Yeah. It's good. So you start getting into you were kind of like got into tech, right? Right after college, you were in like some tech, and you were learning how to lead and building community and leadership within teams and things like that. So kind of when did the habitual roots and kind of what you've got going on today, kind of like in your evolution history, your evolution story, Kevin, when did all of that come about?
I'd say it started about 2 years from now, or
Okay.
2 years previous to now.
Yeah.
Essentially, it came from a place of authenticity and like growing more of ourselves, and through networking, sharing the idea of what mindset or mentality we wanted to bring more up, right? And so me and a good solid groups of people started connecting and having this mastermind. Essentially, the mastermind was kind of vocalized by Napoleon Hill, and essentially it's this idea where you can create this authentic connection with other people in your community to be able to resolve problems or design new ways of creation in your community, right? And what happened is we started having these conversations of how to evolve not only more of ourselves, but each other. We started noticing that the ideas and the topics that kept coming up were all similar. And so what we did was then we thus designed a curriculum, a practice to instill into not only ourselves, but within others, within the people in our circle, and as well as like their circles, and it essentially expanded and grew to a point where we realized that this is something that is fundamental to what it means to be a human being, right? Learning about love, learning about gratitude, learning about peace and forgiveness, learning about how to create your visions into reality, allowing yourself to have a sense of control, and then creating a sense of blessing and support within yourself. These are all fundamental pieces of what it takes to feel as an optimal human being, right? Stimulating parts of your brain, stimulating parts of your mind and body, and essentially connecting to source as who you truly are,
Right,
and what you
right.
truly want to be.
Right. So, this is a topic that comes up quite often on my podcast with my guests, and it's something that I'm very passionate about. And I don't want to go off on my tangent because this is about you. It's your story, but I just kind of want you to share a little bit about the importance of us human beings as individuals knowing who we are and going inward and really having that stillness and that quietness in our lives, and really having that foundation of like, okay, this is Quentin, this is who I am, this is Kevin, this is who I am, and having that foundation so that we can continue to move forward. Because without a foundation in our lives, we're not going to be able to reach our greatest, most powerful potential. So, what is the importance from your experience, Kevin, and just what you've got going on in your life? What is the importance of having that foundation of knowing who you are, and spending that time in quietness and stillness to really do that deep inner work that I believe is so necessary?
Yes, I find that doing the work on yourself and with yourself is fundamental and key to who we are.
Right.
Having stillness first comes from a place of needing and wanting stillness. When you begin to create that within yourself, you start to wonder and you start to witness these thoughts and these actions that you are having. And then you can ask yourself, like, who is having these thoughts? Who actually owns my body? And then, who am I? And then these are the first engaging questions of where you can begin truly diving into your awareness. That first, you are not only the person that you think you are, but you're more than that. We never chose, or maybe we did, but from the first off, we may not have chosen the name we had.
Right.
Maybe we didn't, or maybe we did choose the parents or the experience or the friends that we were grown up with. But learning that these are the conditionings that have allowed us to experience moments that grew us and also evolved us in certain ways that we must heal, and also in areas that we are growing and evolving from. So doing the inner work, finding peace and finding stillness within yourself, you can begin to witness these primal and conditioned thoughts that you have allowed yourself to embrace.
Beautiful.
And it's okay to see that there are trials and errors that you will go through, but learning how can you keep acting from a place of love, and two, from a place of authenticity, and knowing that the first thought you have about doing anything is the authentic you. It is your act from your heart, and then everything else, the second thought, is the conditioning. It is what comes from the primal mind, the conditioned mind that has been encompassed with your conditionings, your friends, your experiences, your family, things that have evolved you into be playing this role and has taken you more away from the authentic self, but it's learning that these are the things that you must heal to be more aligned with who you truly are.
So you mentioned just kind of as you were sharing there, struggle. What has been one of the greatest struggles in your life that you've had to break through and overcome so that you could really step into your full authentic self that you are presenting right now?
Yeah, okay. I find that the society today deals with a lot of mentality of not enoughness. Have you ever heard of that mentality?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
So what is interesting is, where do you feel love and where do you feel happiness or connection? You feel it within yourself, right? And so learn to recognize that you should stop giving the power away to something, someone, some experience or moment, but give it back to yourself to say, hey, I choose love for myself now. I choose fun, I choose connection, I choose authenticity with myself now. And I need not a moment, experience, or a person to give me that. But I can be more fully and more whole with myself in that place, in that presence with another person, another experience, or another moment, and choose love within myself and need not that person, experience, or moment to give that to me. Right? So first, that is the most pivotal moment in my life, finding that true understanding that, hey, I can give myself anything I want. And in the setting that we're in, I think this is really relevant, that we need to remember that we are our own bartenders. We are our own emotional bartender. So choose what emotional cocktail you will serve yourself. What blend of chemicals do you want to release in your body from your brain to feel, right? Everything that comes into our mind and into our physical body is our choice. It is our own perception. So learning to heal that piece, that you are already enough. Learn how to accept and value how perfectly you are already, without anything else. Love yourself first.
Right.
And surprising or not, I was close to 250 pounds at one point.
Really? Wow.
And this is when I was seeking very externally for happiness and seeking externally for connection and authenticity, and realizing that I was essentially trying to validate myself through substances or through things that wasn't actually giving me happiness. I was putting more energy into experiences, moments, substances, people, and not allowing myself to give that back to myself on my own. And now realizing the shift that I am my own server, I choose to feel and allow myself to embrace what I must to be the person that I want to be.
Right.
And everyone can. You can.
Absolutely.
Everyone can.
For sure. So, at kind of like what age or what stage of your life did this shift happen for you, or this awakening?
I'd say it was also the time that I was figuring out myself and what I wanted to do in the world, which is what I'd say, like, right at graduation.
Okay.
Shifting out of everything I've known of schooling, education, the logistical, analytical way of thinking, into now, hey, how do I create? How do I be creative? How do I be expressive to allow these things to flow from within myself, because this is truly who I am, and then allowing the reality to accept and appreciate and value what I can bring.
So it was just kind of right as you were wrapping up college that you really started to step into this awakening then?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what was the impetus for this awakening? Was it a book that you read? Was it some people that you were around in college? Because there's always some sort of influence in our lives in regards to us stepping into an awakening. So what was that influence that really allowed you to be open to you needing to have a shift or again, jumping in or stepping into an awakening?
I find that reality hit me hard.
Okay. Yeah.
Reality hit me very hard. I think the easiest piece was first seeing that I was carrying another human being on my own body.
Yeah, right.
Was a huge catalyst. But the other part was recognizing that happiness was my own doing. I was giving away my power or my ability to feel what I wanted to feel. That was a big piece there. I would say resource-wise, it was probably the connection and readings of not only The Alchemist, but also learning through play, through connection, and like actually physically embracing my body through breath work, through meditation, these practices. Like for instance, a very simple book that also helped provide practices was The Buddha at the Bar. Really fun, beautiful book. Highly recommended. It's just a practical integration of meditative Dharma-like practices into a practical environment. Becoming Supernatural was huge in my life, but again, all of these different resources are ways that allowed me to see more of myself through who I truly am.
Awesome, my man. So I want to talk a little bit about gratitude. I think that's something that you touched on here very recently on your Instagram. Something else that you had on your social media was thinking less, being more. So just if you don't mind, Kevin, touching a little bit on the importance of gratitude for us human beings, and then kind of expound on what it means to think less and thinking less and being more.
Yes. So gratitude is an interesting thing that we are starting to accept and start to see more of happening in our world, right? People tell you need to be grateful for more things. And it's important to be grateful for more things, but it's learning to actually embrace and feel the authentic side of what gratitude entails. Because gratitude is the open channel for receiving. It is the allowing process of accepting what is coming into your life, right? When you are grateful for something, that is what your body essentially wants more of, has appreciated, right? But the side that is most important that people forget is not just stating that you're grateful, but it's feeling, right? There's a side of thinking of something, right? When you think of something, you're essentially putting it out there in the world. But it's when you essentially feel is when you draw it back into yourself, right? Through these practices of feeling these emotions, because the world and the universe has no idea what the physical essence of what this is. It doesn't know what, this microphone is, or this, this building is, or what this, but essentially what it does know is what emotional signs and triggers you tie to it. So by understanding what you associate to gratitude is what your universe and what your world will replicate and reciprocate more into. As long as you feel, you will draw back into your world. So gratitude is a huge fundamental piece. And again, I won't take time to explain too much, but there's a science behind releasing these chemicals in your brain. By feeling these things and allowing to develop into the rest of your body, you are taking yourself into the moment of realizing that you've already received it. So by feeling grateful for things that you already have to things that you would like, you are taking yourself to moments that already exist. Because your internal reality has no time or space, has no recognition of what time or space is. Right.
Cool. So thinking less, being more.
Yes.
Can you just share a little bit from your heart what that is to you?
Yes. Thinking less, being more comes from a place of realizing that the authentic self comes from a place of just being. Right? We are not human doings, we are human beings.
Right.
So learning to act from a place of connection and being genuine and from a place of love, you can essentially think less and be more. And what I mean by that is when you can think less, you will allow yourself to be free from the conditionings, be free from the upbringing, all those things that are still being healed, or if not already been healed, and you can allow yourself to just be more present, because the present is the true gift of life. So if you can just be in this space, you can allow yourself to connect to your flow and connect to your true authentic state.
That. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Now, I want to touch on a little bit in regards to what you believe. I'm just going to ask you three things that are kind of, wrapped up in one. So mankind's greatest desire, need, and want. So the first one is from your perspective, from your life experience, from what you've learned, what do you believe is mankind's greatest desire?
I find that there's a little bit of two things. They kind of blend together, but we're getting to a place where we're realizing that people or our society or mankind is not motivated by what we traditionally thought was motivated by, which is monetary or material reasons. What we're seeing is that the mankind is being driven by, one, community, right? Being a part of something, being a part of a large group, and having that connection and having that social cause. And the second piece is purpose, right? Purpose is allowing yourself to be a part of something bigger than yourself, being a part of something that's bigger than ourselves, and seeing that it has a greater impact and cause onto this world and to mankind itself. So community and purpose, I would say, is the largest impact that I find we are seeking.
So, okay, so what do you think then? So I think that kind of answers like mankind's greatest desire and need. I feel like that kind of answers both those. And so do you also think those two things answer the question of mankind's greatest want? Or do you think there's maybe some difference in regards to desire, need, in regards to mankind and want?
I find that they're all aligned.
Okay.
We are social creatures, and all we want to have is, one, be heard, be loved, and have a place to feel connected and feel like we're making an impact. These are things that we as a human being want to establish, right? We have our certain needs of certainty and uncertainty in our life, and realizing that we need to be in those positions of creativity, and allowing yourself to be authentic, to be more of those places through love. Right.
So, in regards to, because this, I mean, if there's one word I was going to extract from our conversation today so far, it would be community. Because that's really, it seems like, something that you've really stepped into, you've been awakened to, you've been enlightened to, and that's really like a driving force in your life. And one of your really good friends that was on the podcast here not too long ago, Dr. Evan, I know that he also talked about that community, and you guys have a community together, you're in the same community. So in regards to that community and that desire, need, and want that we have as human beings for that connection with other human beings, where does intimacy in regards to like a relationship with another human being, where does all of that play in your estimation?
Great question. In the intimacy side, it is truly coming from a place of compassion and empathy, really realizing that we are all essentially spiritual beings,
right?
Going through deep inner work on ourselves and through our journeys to be more of ourselves. Everyone has experienced a journey, and through ups and downs has allowed them to be the person they are today. And through intimacy and through connection and through community, we can create space for those to recognize that within ourselves, right? And see that true, genuine side of each other. Right, that we are both human beings experiencing more of ourselves, seeing more of the journey that allows us to overcome and grow from these inner works that we are establishing and growing and evolving from. Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's good, my man. So do you believe that, like, because for me, in my experiences, like when you step into like an intimate relationship with somebody, there's a lot of vulnerability that is expressed in that relationship that I don't think we tend to really open up to in any other type of relationship. So I believe that vulnerability is something that's very important in you and in your community. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
So in that intimate relationship, I think vulnerability is expressed in probably the greatest or most powerful way in regards to two human beings in a setting. Would you agree with that or not? And just maybe expound on that a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. So there's a practice called intimate communion.
Okay.
So intimate communion is a very interesting thing, and it goes beyond not only with yourself, but with other people that you come across, whether it's a romantic relationship or a business partnership or a essentially platonic friendship relationship, right? But the intimate communion is recognizing that within each person there is a directed goal-oriented side, or the masculine directed side, right? Or the more creative, expressive feminine side, right? And we can see this very easily even in our environments. Just as looking at New York, what does it seem like? Very goal-driven, directional, very masculine environment versus the Hawaii-based, creative, free-flowing, expressive side, very feminine, right? And recognizing that not only do I have that within myself, but also with you, and then also with any person that we come across, there is that understanding of intimate communion within them, right? So learning to, one, know yourself, like coming back now, knowing yourself of what state you embody most, and learning how to go between either side, right? In a romantic situation, one of the things that we help practice people on is essentially the habitual space, right? What happens a lot is, say you're coming from home to work, or work to home, or meeting to meeting. And what happens is you carry emotions, right, into the next space. So what happens the most is, like, say you're coming from work to home and you see your romantic partner and you carry an emotion from work and you're acting, you're expressing, you're speaking from that place. And then all of a sudden miscommunication happens and then disconnection happens, right? And so learning how to recognize those states, say your partner is speaking to you and they're embodying this directional masculine state of work, what you need to do is recognize where they're naturally supposed to be. Maybe they're naturally supposed to be in the expressive, free-flowing side. So how can you help them through intimate communion to move them back into their natural state of sexual essence or their intimate state, and see, hey, maybe I can just spin them around and allow them to embody that creative, expressive side. Or maybe I could just have them, gently massage their back, or allow them to move back into the present and let go of an emotion or an energetic exchange from work, because we realize now that we see in physics that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, it is only transferred. So a lot of times people are giving you emotions. So say you feel stress or anxiety from your partner, or feel from a friend or any person, you realize that all they're doing is trying to take it off of them and give it to you. So learning, one, to have the stillness and peace within yourself to recognize those emotions, choose what you want to hold on to and not, but then also allow yourself to be the artist to maneuver and help guide them and facilitate them out of their energetic exchange and move it into what state they want to be in.
Dang, man. Now that, okay, so like this is absolute next level human being stuff. Like, this isn't like the average person isn't walking on the street is not, I don't believe, in tune with all this. So again, I really think, going back to what we talked about earlier, Kevin, the importance of having that self-foundation of knowing who we are, why we're here, all of that type of stuff. Like, again, it starts with us as individuals, so then that we can express that love and we can express what we want to express to the intimate partner and the other people in our lives. Like, I just want to reiterate, to the listeners, how important it is for us as human beings just to really know, again, who we are, so that we can then give the world what has been given to us to give. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I mean, just sitting with you, I'm sitting with Evan several weeks ago, just having these next level human conversations and understanding, the power that we really do have within us to give to other people, to impact their lives positively. I mean, it's just again, it's next level stuff, and it's like we have to focus on ourselves first, so then we can focus on other people. So I just want to acknowledge you, Kevin, for what you've done in regards to doing that deep inner work, and I just want to recognize you and thank you for spreading this to other people, because I firmly believe that God has given us gifts to give, not to hold on to, not to hoard, but we have been given gifts. We have been given power to give away. So I just want to acknowledge you and thank you for doing that and providing that for your community. Okay, so absolutely, my man. Does writing, whether it's journaling, poetry, writing songs, whatever it is, does writing have any place in your life? And if so, what type of place does it have? Is it something that's very important? Is it just something you dabble with here and there? Where does writing stand in your life, Kevin?
Writing is very important.
Okay.
It's a very expressive way
Absolutely.
to put things onto the physical plane, essentially, right?
Yes.
Or into words, right? So there's 2 points here of why I do it, right? The first is learning how to create more space in yourself, right? Because a lot of times what happens is our brains aren't built to store information, right? At one point, you realize that, hey, we used to remember our friends' phone numbers, our friends' addresses, and how to get there. But learning to see, wow, okay, so then that means that now with our phones and our technology has allowed us to create more space, we let those go through our contacts and our Google Maps or our regular maps. And seeing now how can we do that within ourselves by writing our goals down, writing our affirmations down, letting yourself create more space in your brain. Because imagine if you're holding up this 100-pound bell, right, and you're holding this up and your arm is essentially doing this work, what is it going to do? It's going to get tired. Right? So how can you let that go, put it into a physical form, and create more space in your brain to trust in that your direction now is guided with the way you've written, right? So one, learning to reflect through your journaling, through your writing, through your expression, learning how to direct your reflection into your next actions and create more affirmations or create more steps or brainstorming where you are headed. So, yes.
So writing is very important in your life.
Yeah.
Awesome. Man.
I'd say so.
Awesome. Okay, so we are, man, this is by far one of my favorite places that I've ever podcasted. I don't even know what we're in, but we are in Improper City in like this glass see-through little box thing. I mean, I don't even know what it is, but they're getting ready for a Halloween party here, so we're gonna quickly kind of wrap things up. I do want you to share a little bit about Habitual Sprouts, which is something that you do in your community to really help youth. And I know that we've gone back and forth on Instagram, on social media, and I've shared kind of my vision, my heart with the next generation. So quickly, just share with myself and the listeners the importance for us adults to really give back and pour into the next generation.
Absolutely. Habitual Sprouts is essentially a youth program that our organization has put together. We've essentially designed a practice that the youth can create more awareness with themselves through play, through understanding, and through connection. They can create a deeper awareness of themselves. Right? And so we do practices during class called Mindful Minutes. We do after-school programs called EQ for Youth, as well as doing mindful field days. So again, highlighting the importance of play is where our sense of wonder and creativity comes. So we've designed multiple essential mindful or emotional intelligence awareness activities that allow you to see more of yourself. So investing into our youth is highly important because these are things that I find that we wish we were taught or told. Absolutely. And it's not anything new, it's just things that we were never really explained, like how to focus. We're told to focus, like focus on your homework, focus on your food, focus on this. But has anyone ever taught you how to focus? Right? Or
That's powerful.
Yes. As simple as that, right? Or as simple as breathing, right? It's been an automatic process. It's a very unconscious thing we do, but it's like, how have we allowed people to recognize what breathing is? Because we think the only time that our body physically tells us to breathe is when we yawn. In our world, we think it's because we're tired, but breathing actually means that our brain needs to be cooled down with more oxygen. So breathe more.
Right.
So that's all it means. It's like learning to rewire it and essentially connect what we see and how we understand the world. And it starts from the youth. And it starts not only with the youth, but with ourselves first.
Right. Awesome, my man. Last question I have for you. Take this any direction that you want. Whatever kind of, again, I'm sure you're going to take it to whatever kind of pops up in your head first, but where are you going?
Where I am going is essentially here and now. I am going to wherever my heart guides me and allowing myself to be there fully. Showing up as my authentic self to allow others to see more of themselves. As there's been studies that I can share as well, but essentially by being more present in engagements and activities and in conversations, the person you are connecting most with will become more present, connected, and authentic with themselves. So allowing myself to be guided by that, and truly through my heart, that is where I'm going.
I love that, man. Hey, I just really, man to man, Kevin, want to just thank you for sharing your story. We kind of had to do things quickly here, but just you shared some very powerful information. So I want to thank you for that. Thank you for giving us a quick little snapshot of just kind of who you are today, where you're at, and where you're going. And again, I just want to acknowledge you for the deep inner work that you've done, and for again sharing your power with the world to positively impact the world. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm grateful to be here with you as well.
Cool, awesome. So Kevin, before I kind of do just kind of wrapping things up here, if somebody wants to reach out to you, if they want to find out more about you, if they've really connected with you on the podcast as they've listened, where can people reach out to you? Where can they find out more about you and what you've got going on in your life?
Absolutely. My direct channel for Instagram is KevyJWo. You can also reach out to me directly at my website at www.habitualroots.com. You can learn more about our teams and the activities and the events that are up and coming in your community. So feel free to see, reset, and be more of yourself.
Love it, man. All right, so listeners, thank you so much once again for tuning into the 127 Fit podcast with Kevin and myself. Your listening ears, as always, are greatly appreciated. If you would like to find out more about the guests that I'm bringing on to the 127 Fit podcast and myself, you can find me on Instagram at 127fitness. Facebook is at Quentin Vars. If you guys would do me a huge favor and please leave me a 5-star rating and review, and also subscribe to the podcast, that would be super cool. You can also find me on LinkedIn, and that's just Quentin Vars. If you want to start your own podcast, you can get a month free if you go to the show notes of this podcast and click on that link underneath the question, do you want to start your own podcast? Just click on that link and you can get going on that. If you think you would be a great guest, or if you have a friend or an acquaintance that you think would be a great guest or guest for the 127 Fit podcast, please send me an email or give this email out. And the email is 127fit@gmail.com. And as you're finding great value in an episode or episodes of the 127 Fit podcast, if you do another favor for me and share that specific episode or episodes that you're finding that value in on your Facebook and Instagram stories, and use the hashtag Be Someone to Follow. Again, that allows more people to find the podcast, and that allows more people to listen, to learn, and get positively impacted. And that's the name of the game for the 127 Fit podcast, is for people to get positively impacted through other people's stories. And per the usual, I will leave you with Proverbs 24:10, which states, "If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small." This time, until next time, I will catch you guys later.